worse. So this evening I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on Generation Y. My position is that the biggest struggle facing Generation Y is a search for an identity and a purpose. While the world has become an infinitely easier place to live, it has simultaneously created enormous challenges around debt, employment, housing. Our generation is caught between trying to create an identity of who and what we are in a world that is changing faster than anyone could ever imagine. They're trying to find a place in that new world for the type of person that we've chosen to be. In this new world, we have limitless options for our time. And if any of these options aren't helping us define who we are or where we're going, then we're probably going to choose something else. What we are missing is an opportunity to teach Gen Y the link that our communities, basic finances, politics, have with the world they're trying to understand. We haven't shown them in a practical way that engaging themselves in their communities will help contribute to their goals of defining who they are and where they'd like to be. And until we understand these truths, we're setting them up to be swallowed by a world that will hunt you down to sell you an iPhone and will keep track of all of your movements on Facebook, but will not care whether or not you are meaningfully employed, if you owe thousands in student debt, or if you own your first home before the age of 30. We're the first generation where most of us will not be able to remember a time without computers. While we continue to be the most ambitious, well-educated, and tech-savvy generation the world has ever seen, we're also the most needy, disengaged, and impatient. Our strengths are our abilities to problem solve, innovate, multitask. The word I use to describe our generation is potential. We have the chance to be the next great generation and transform the world in unimaginable ways. We have the numbers, the knowledge, so before we can reach out to Gen Y, we have to understand what they're dealing with. So the first challenge facing Gen Y is employment. Excluding those born into extreme poverty, most of Gen Y is trapped between what I call a high floor and a low ceiling. The previous generations battled tooth and nail through labor and civil rights movements. So a young black man like myself was able to seek out higher education, be meaningfully employed, without worrying if my race or relative lack of income would be a barrier. A world where women have not reached equal standing in the workplace, but have still made substantial steps forward to the point where we can imagine a world where they will be treated equally. The problem is that these movements for more rights and higher wages, combined with technological advances that have streamlined modern business processes, have pushed many high-paying jobs to the developing world and left us with what seems to be an endless supply of service industry jobs. Service industry jobs are a common theme amongst Gen Y. You'll be hard-pressed to find someone over the age of 17 that hasn't worked in a call center, a restaurant, or done some sort of customer. So along with being the first generation to be born into the world of the computer, Gen Y is the first generation that's projected to spend their entire adult lives in debt. Whether they want to go to school, get a car, buy a house, travel. Many in Gen Y, but it's too easy to blame our debt on overspending. Some of us were not satisfied with where we were in life, so we chose to educate ourselves. Now, we're forever richer with our fancy educations, but saddled with debt that will take us over a decade to repay. Why over a decade? Because most of us aren't making enough money to pay back the debt as fast as we'd like.